Bats are really good at two things. The first thing is incubating diseases, but the second one is seeing at night. Bats can actually see about as well as a human, but at night they use something called echolocation to see. Essentially what they do is they send a really high frequency wave out of their whatever the hell they use, and it bounces off the objects and it comes back to them. Because it's super high frequency, it actually carries a lot of information and they can map their world around them, effectively seeing at night. In order to become ManBat, the hero ManBat, I want to try replicate that functionality, and I'm gonna do it. Here's my plan. To replicate the echolocation of bats, I'm going to use an ultrasonic sensor. This will allow me to send a high frequency signal that will bounce off objects, and then it will be able to be detected. I'm also going to then use a motor that's going to be sat on top of my ear using some sort of 3D printed case. And then from there, it's going to be able to move in some sort of fashion so that I'll be able to recognize things in front of me without having to actually see them, because I'll be blindfolded in the process. Should be fun. I started by drawing out a design for the ultrasonic case. I traced my hand straight on, which was very, very effective, of course.
What is that? What is that?
My idea was to create a sort of ring holder that will go around my middle finger that connects my hand to the sensor. I can then hold out my hand and effectively use it as my eyes. I initially planned to put the motor for giving me some feedback on the back of the hand, but I had what I thought was a better idea of chucking the motors on my head instead. I used these HC SR04 ultrasonic sensors, which are pretty bog standard for this incredibly niche application. After freeing up the Arduino from the last video, I made a little test circuit. With a little bit of code I wrote, I was able to get it telling me a distance in centimeters that the ultrasonic sensor was from an object directly in front of it. It had a tolerance of about 1 centimeter, which seemed good enough for ManBat. I collected some measurements to allow me to get the right sizing for my finger using this circumference rope method. After a bit of experimentation, I got the sizing for the finger right. After collecting all relevant dimensions, I was able to design and print off the hand sensor.
A few moments later.
It is 11:30 at the moment. I'm just getting ready for bed, and I just stood on this thing. So that's now broken. So I'm gonna have to reprint that tomorrow morning.
First try.
So after about an hour of removing these supports here, I got this thing on my hand. So it's pretty cool. With that finished printing, now I have the two eyes. So at some point I'm gonna have to have wires running from my hand to my chest where another system is gonna be. And to do that, I need to know exactly how long my arms are. You know how there's that kind of rule that your arm length is approximately equal to your height? Yeah, mine is not at all. This is my arm length. And there's still like leniency here. And it is 187. I am 5'11", 6 foot on a good day, okay? To cover my whole arm length, I needed quite a lot of wiring, which took a little while to set up. I started with making a ring that would sit on my ears, so I needed to know the rough size of my head, so I used this rope method to do it. So I tried to make this 3D model of my head so that I didn't have to measure it and put it into the CAD, but look at this thing. Look at the eye. This is horrible. I managed to get the band around my head. It does fit. This is just a test band, but the thing is, I need this to obviously be a lot thicker, and you probably saw it in that video, but my 3D printer was on the very edges of what it could do. So I'm probably gonna have to ditch this head idea and go for something that maybe fits on the ears or something like that. Using an ear model I found online, I was able to use it as a base to create the holder case for the ear motors. I also added these balls on the end of the motors to stop the motors from pulling my hair when they spun, or hopefully stopping it. To get these motors working, I need to solder on these wires to them so that I can form like an electrical connection, and sadly I don't have a solder on me. My only solder is at home, so I'm going to have to switch to another type of motor, a servo motor. After quite a few attempts, I was able to actually get the new motor case printed. I might have been lazy when designing it, so I didn't actually design any holdings for the servo, so instead I just used my trusty tape. And these are them in my ears. They're holding pretty well, surprisingly. So that's the circuit all wired up.
Look at the mess!
I do a bit of the coding to get my desired functionality. Right, so, update. I've spent the last 3 hours trying to get this stupid circuit to work. And for some reason, I can't get both ultrasonic sensors working at the same time. I can get one working and then the other one breaks, and I have absolutely no idea why. I've tried adding delays, I've tried adding everything. So I'm gonna reduce the wiring in the circuit by just straight up axing one side of my body. So I'm just gonna keep my right side and just leave my left side because I can really not be bothered fixing this.
I'm sorry, little one.
The good news is, now I've got it working. So the servo resets to 0 when the code starts, and then when I get close enough to the sensor, it's going to move the servo a little bit, and then it just kind of like loops in that basically. So you can see that it starts to move, and then it's just every time it gets to 180, it's going to go. And when I'm too far away from the sensor, my hand's up here, and then it's not going to trigger. So if something's coming towards me, then it's going to go fucking crazy. And then if something's like, you know, far away, it's not gonna do nothing. So that's how I know. Well, this is officially the dumbest thing I have ever made, but I think it works. Now time to power up. Oh yeah, baby. Oh, look at that. Oh yeah, I can tell when things are coming towards me. Like there's nothing in front of me. Well, there is something in front of me, but it's not close. And then now it's close. Oh my god, that's so loud. You see it? Yeah! Sick. This is the new this is the new ManBat. Where is it? Oh, alright, yeah, I've locked on. Alright, this is it. Where is it? Right. Oh yeah. We're done. Fuck this thing. We're done. Well, let that be a lesson for you meddling criminals and villains out there. I got ManBat will come for you if you if you mess around. Shadow Panda eyes. ManBat will come for you. Okay, blah blah blah. Future me here. My next video is about a robotic hand. If that interests you, I hope to see you in the next one. And also, I now get to make this incredibly specific reference. Thank you for 4 subscribers. I appreciate it.